with your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere. What's going on, everybody? Hey, welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com, broadcasting live on YouTube and X. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. We're back after a few days off, and it feels fantastic. It's the final day of July. I cannot believe that I am saying that, but it is, and we have a lot to break down. With the last day of July comes the last day of the MLB Trade Deadline, and so much has been going on in Major League Baseball, so we'll have to break some of that down today. We continue our 32 teams in, 25 days essentially, but we're calling it 32 and 32, completing the NFC West with the Los Angeles Rams as we get you ready over the next 5 weeks for the start of the National Football League season. So a fun Thursday show for the people. If you want to get in on the action, it's The Rome Show 1 on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, or wherever you go to social media. The mothership, 12OZ Sports. That's the number 12OZ Sports. Reminder, comment, YouTube or X. We'll get that comment, and then we can break it down on the show. If you've missed any of the breakdowns, 32 teams in 32 days, we've done the Rams, we've done the Cardinals, okay? And we have done the Seattle Seahawks. Today, we've done not the Rams, just so you are aware. We do the Rams today. We've done the other three teams in the NFC West. We will then finish that with the Rams. And I told you I'd give you a prediction on the NFC West, which we will do as well, by the way. That fourth team that I was missing? Yeah. The 49ers. So that's what happens when you do a radio show at 7:10 in the morning. The brain is shot. So let's get into it. Play the music. All right, people, we're getting ready for Sunday, and it is 32 teams in 32 days with the Los Angeles Rams. Let's break it down for the people. The 2024 season for the Los Angeles Rams was a 10-7 season that saw them make the playoffs. I do believe that there was, I don't know how to put this, a surprise from the people that the Rams were the team that were able to make the postseason. A lot has happened for the Rams this offseason, one being retaining Matthew Stafford. A lot of the key questions going to the offseason for this Rams team was who is going to be the quarterback next season. Well, Matthew Stafford enters his 17th season at the helm of a National Football League team, and the Rams are putting all their money into this basket and saying, hey, let's give this man one more shot here. He's still good enough to win big games behind center, but we need to do some things around him. First and foremost, who do you replace once Cooper Kupp is no longer there? Well, they got Davante Adams to do that, and I think that is a really good signing for the Rams. Davante Adams, as we know, is coming off of 3 really weird years combined with the Raiders and the Jets. So I think it's going to be an exciting period for Davante Adams, especially with a quarterback that arguably could be the best he's played with in the last 5 years, including Aaron Rodgers, which I do not think was at his best. On top of that, offensive line was really injured last year. One of my 3 keys for this team outside of Stafford's health is also the offensive line health. Okay, well, they tried to address that in the offseason with center Coleman Shelton and offensive tackle DJ Humphries. So that's important. And outside of the Davante Adams signing, they add another tight end in Terrence Ferguson, who should be able to couple both with some pass blocking and run blocking, as well as some pass catching on the offensive line. Those two things, huge. When you have a 38-year-old quarterback and a 32-year-old number one wide receiver, injuries, health is going to be at the top of your card for success for this team. So those two and that entire offensive line are going to go a long way in saying, what type of year is this for the Rams? On the flip side, okay, they signed Poona Ford, the defensive tackle, and that's a key aspect. Defense in general for the Los Angeles Rams in the 2025 season needs to improve, but they were 21st in the league in pass rush at 38. So think about the two things that we just talked about, okay, for Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams. First and foremost, it's your offensive line, the health of your offensive line, and if you can keep your 38-year-old quarterback upright to the best of your ability. Secondly, we're talking about a defense that was 21st in pass rush. They were 26th in total yards. They were 20th in total passing yards given up. They were 22nd in total rushing yards given up. And they were 17th in opponents' points per game at 22.7 per game. So for me, I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, it only comes down to those two things, the offensive and the defensive line. Because I think if all's marginal, you're going to get a solid year out of Matthew Stafford fully healthy. All marginal, you're going to get good years out of Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, and the other playmakers that are on this team. But you have injuries or lack of production in the trenches. I say this, I feel like every single time I talk about a football team. Trenches, offensive line, defensive line. You need pass rush. You need to keep quarterback upright. All of those things, okay? But for the Rams, it's purely the most important thing. That's a fact. On the flip side, you're coming back with a solid offense, but again, some changes, and you're losing arguably your best wide receiver. Now, does Puka Nacua make you believe that you don't need Cooper Kupp as much anymore? Probably, but Cooper Kupp was like a tight end for a lot of, think about Jason Witten for Tony Romo. Just that safety blanket. I know where Jason Witten's going to be. I'm going to give him the rock if things start going awry. Excuse me. That's exactly what Cooper Kupp was for this Los Angeles Rams team. Matthew Stafford knew where that man was going to be. Matthew Stafford knew he could get him the rock, and he was going to make plays for him. And though you have the younger, maybe slightly better version of that in Puka Nacua, it does not mean that you can just replace Cooper Kupp. And a 32-year-old Devontae Adams off of 3 mediocre years isn't necessarily, woo, let's put some wins in the sails. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot there on the offensive side for an offense that was 20th in points per game, 24th in rushing yards, 15th in total yards, and 10th in passing yards. So we're not talking about the greatest offense in the history of time. This isn't the Kurt Warner-led St. Louis Rams greatest show on turf. That's not what we're looking here at for the Los Angeles Rams. So it begs the question, what do we feel is going to happen? Not just with the Rams, but with this entire conference. Well, to finish the Rams, the best part about this team coming back next year is the consistency in the coaching staff. Offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur returns, and defensive coordinator Chris Shula returns. Plus, Sean McVay, having won a Super Bowl at the helm of this franchise over the last 10 years, there's a lot of consistency there. Whereas when you look at other teams that are predicted to win 10 or more games or expecting to have a good year, a lot of times those teams are replacing the coordinator or having to really shift the coaching staff because of all the jobs or the movement that's happened on the coaching side. Not for the Rams, okay? Stafford, LaFleur, they get to go back at it again, and that's only a good thing for this team. So let's go ahead and rank the NFC West. This is how I believe it's going to end up, okay? In fourth place, actually, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to do it this way. Hold, please.
Numero cuatro.
Number 4 spot, I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks. I don't believe necessarily in anything that this team's doing right now. It doesn't mean that they're going to be insanely atrocious, but I just don't think that they're going to be able to compete. The 49ers on a bad year should win 9 games with the talent on their roster. Okay. So you have to hump that. Arizona figured it out to a degree last year as a 500 ball club. They should only get better under second-year head coach. And as we just talked about, the Los Angeles Rams were there last year, losing in the divisional round to the Philadelphia Eagles. So Seattle, to me, has to climb the farthest in this division. So I'm going to put Seattle in the 4 spot. 3.
Dwayne Wade.
The Dwayne Wade team in the NFC West is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. I think that the Cardinals have a lot of talent. I think that the Cardinals, on paper, could be the best team in this division. I think that the Cardinals, led by Kyler Murray, have still never reached their true potential. Now, that doesn't mean that we couldn't come back out the next year, and now Kyler Murray's the second coming of Alex Smith, the 7th, 8th, 9th year in the league. The verdict's still out. Kyler Murray's still a top probably 15 quarterback in the league based on how poor the bottom 15 quarterbacks in the league are. I just don't know if I can ever take the Arizona Cardinals to be the best team in the division with the lack of consistency over the last 10 years. I mean, honestly, ever since the Kurt Warner, Larry Fitzgerald days, it's really hard for me to believe that this Cardinals team is going to be able to jump, I think, a really good Rams team and what should be a really good 49ers team. Number two.
Ryan Leach.
Your number 2 team in this division is going to the aforementioned San Francisco 49ers. Listen, man, there's like a holdout every offseason with this team. You lost Deebo Samuel. I just don't believe you can fully replace that guy. George Kittle's getting up there in age. I think you have an okay wide receiver room. You lost some really important pieces on defense. I'm not saying that it's a really bad year for the 49ers. I'm just thinking that the first 4 to 6 weeks are not going to look as it's supposed to look in the eyes of the 49er fan, or to the standards that we've believed the 49ers should be over the course of the Kyle Shanahan era there. I don't think they're as talented on the offensive side. I don't know if I trust Christian McCaffrey for an entire season, especially coming off an Achilles injury. And what is Brock Purdy as the quarterback of this franchise? Because if you're to rank the quarterbacks, you're probably going to take Matthew Stafford first. You might go Kyler Murray second. Then you might go to the aforementioned. Okay. So it's like, the Niners, Brock Purdy might not be the best quarterback in this mix, but yet they could be the best team. The talent is kind of marginal on all 4. So it's going to come down to that first 6 to 8 weeks, that first half of the season, who can get there the quickest, who can be the most consistent, and of course, what's your schedule look like, which is always a factor in this, which leads me to my number 1.
Uno.
And that would be the Los Angeles Rams. I just believe that when you look at the totality of a team, when you look at going from year to year, okay? There's too many question marks for me in Seattle and in There's too many question marks for me in Seattle and in Arizona, okay? And as I just mentioned, a little bit more belief in the under center position of the Rams over the Niners, and a little bit more belief in the overall talent on the Rams than on the Niners. So that is what I got for the NFC West. To finish that off for you, I have the Rams coming in first. I got the 49ers coming in second, the Cardinals coming in third, and the Seattle Seahawks coming in the last location. Looking at the standings, we will break down the AFC West coming up starting on Friday's show tomorrow. Haven't decided which team I'm going to start with, so you, the listener, just needs to make sure you tune in at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning so you can be locked on our 32 teams in 32 days. I'm going to take this quick commercial break. All right. When we get back, we shift our gears to the original America's pastime, Major League Baseball. The trade deadline ends tonight at 6 p.m. And if you were anybody watching anything about the trade deadline yesterday in Major League Baseball, you'd see that it was popping off. So we will give you some updates on some of those trades, some guys you've heard of, some guys you haven't heard of, more or less what teams are buying, and what teams are selling. So our Major League Baseball trade report coming up after this commercial break. Stay with us here on the Rome Show, 12 OZ Sports.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Yeah, the Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com, broadcasting live on YouTube and X. I'm Andrew Romanella. Been the host of this thing for like 7 years almost now. Going on the back end of 2 years here on 12ouncesports.com. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you subscribe to 12 Ounce Sports on YouTube or the Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast, easiest to stay up to date with the Rome Show. And if you like it, share it with a friend. If you don't, well, go find another show. We're okay with that. We're not everybody's cup of tea. That's what some players are saying about the trade deadline right now in Major League Baseball. Woo! I must not be that team's cup of tea. Well, for the last week, the trade deadline has been popping off. Now, Rafael Devers, something like a month ago, started this whole thing with not wanting to play first base with the Red Sox and then getting traded to the San Francisco Giants. That was like the start of Major League Baseball's trade deadline. Now, since then, you've had, since July 24th, roughly 15 deals at a minimum that actually have an impact on some teams. We'll read through some of them backwards to forwards, starting with yesterday. So a lot of movement on pitching, okay? The Angels making some moves. The Braves making some moves. The Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Mets, okay? The Rays, the Brewers, the Tigers. A lot of teams that are in contention making some moves right now. The Braves acquired righty Tyler Kinley from the Rockies. Makes so much sense that the Rockies would be such a seller at the deadline. The Angels, we love that, okay? We love that because Mike Trout, we've talked about it on this show. They've been historically bad during his career. He's only been in the playoffs one time. It'd be really great to see them. Are they good enough? Probably not. Are they making moves, though? Yes. And the Nationals are a seller, and they went out and got a right-handed pitcher, two left-handed pitchers, and a first baseman from the Nationals. So the Angels making moves. The Yankees, they got both an outfielder, which was definitely necessary for them, and a third baseman, and an infielder, former Met Ahmed Rosario. So that's huge. The Mets have been acquiring relief pitchers. That's been huge for them. I think the Mets have picked up 3 relief pitchers in the last week. Some other teams that are making moves. The Mariners acquired first baseman Josh Naylor from the Diamondbacks. They also got 2 pitchers, a left-handed and a right-handed pitcher. Sometimes with these relievers, and the trade deadline, I'm just going to elect to tell you that this team got a pitcher because 22% of people know relievers in Major League Baseball. That's how much they are changing teams. But what you need to know is that a lot of these teams are making moves pitching wise. And that's the bottom line. Without pitching, you have nothing at any level of baseball. And that's got to be the major decision for a lot of these organizations. Are we a playoff contender? Are we not a playoff contender? And then once you make that decision, if you are a playoff contender, you have to address the worst aspect of your team. Right now, the Yankees don't have a third baseman. Well, you know what? They brought in 2. So hopefully they can figure it out from there. Right now, the Mets have a weak bullpen. Well, they've brought in 3. That's what you need to do. Now, you're not going to hit on every trade, but you need to make them. You need to attack the weak parts of your lineup, and that's what's going on. And a lot has happened. Some of the names that you might have heard of, Ryan McMahon, he is the third baseman from the Rockies headed to the Yankees. Gregory Soto, the left-handed pitcher from the Orioles, he's headed to the Mets. I said Ahmed Rosario and Randall Grichuk, the outfielder from the Diamondbacks. He's had some pretty good years over the last few. He is now a Royal as they look to continue to make a push. Tarek Skubel's Tigers got some pitching help, which is huge. And then the Braves, Rays making some lighter moves to continue to bolster their opportunity to go after a wild card. When you look at the standings in Major League Baseball, outside of the White Sox, the Colorado Rockies, the Nationals, there are a lot of teams, okay, that are not recklessly far off. Now, the Braves are making moves. They're 14 out of a wild card spot, but they never went into this thing thinking that they were going to be this poor of a baseball team, okay? Outside of that, though, you look at a lot of these teams, and they're saying themselves, the Angels, they're 4 games out of a wild card. They might be 53 and 56, but in their mind, with how poor their organization has been over the last bunch of years in terms of getting to the postseason, this could be the closest they've been in a long time. So they got to go after it, okay? And that's all you want to see from your franchise at the trade deadline. What the Mets, 1.5 game lead or something like that over the Phillies. I want them to bolster that. I don't want 2007 to happen again. It's a half game lead now. I don't want 2007 to happen again. I don't want to collapse. Let's bolster our bullpen, okay? Let's improve our team, and let's separate ourselves as the best team in the NL East. So 11 more hours, something like that on the trade deadline. So we'll see if your team is going to keep making moves so they can make a move towards a playoff push. We're back on the Rome Show, July 31st, and it feels great. Thank you for everybody that has tuned in today. I appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. with another 32 teams in 32 days in the AFC West. Make sure you tune in, share the show with a friend, and have an electric Thursday. I'm Andrew Romanella, and I'm saying peace.
Thank you for listening.